know in the beginning, the Most High God, He created the Word. So whatever is in this Bible is the truth. This is what's true. Any other religion that goes against this is not of God, because God gave the Word. But great was the company that published it. Meaning the people that had a hand in creating this Bible was what? Inspired by God. Read it.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 36. Thou shalt find that Israel.
Start at verse 32.
2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 32. Or is there any other people that knoweth thee besides?
The Bible says that any other people that knoweth God, read, knoweth thee, meaning the Most High God. Is there any other people that know God, read?
Beside Israel.
Besides who?
Beside Israel.
Beside Israel. Take a look at this sign right here, right? The children of Israel is breaking down to 12 tribes, right? Each tribe has a westernized name attached to it because of our captivity, right? So the tribe of Judah, what does it say next to it? American blacks, right? So if your forefather came from one of these tribes, that would be who you are. So your father, what tribe would you say you came from? So he'll be from the tribe of Judah, right? So this is the children of Israel, right? This is God's chosen people. And let's see what the Bible is saying again. 2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 32.
2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 32. Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation hath so believed that covenants as Jacob? And yet the reward appeareth not.
The reward of what? The kingdom. Because the Bible said we don't have our reward. The reward of what? Keeping God's commandments, following God is what? Rulership over all the nations. Can you say the American blacks have rulership over all the nations? No, we do not. So that means what? We have not received our reward yet. Read.
And their labor.
And their what?
And their labor.
And their labor. Hold that. Deuteronomy chapter 28. And their labor. What labor can you say the American blacks did here? What labor? Everything, right? Their labor. We have not been rewarded for our labor here in America.
That's right.
That's why our people got to get out of this mindset that everybody can be one and be in one nation. Because one nation wasn't just brought into captivity. Everybody didn't get brought in slave ships with yokes of iron upon our neck. The transatlantic and sub-Saharan slave trade. That did not happen to every race on this earth. So if every race on this planet Earth did not suffer the same curses or suffer the same murders, deaths, and robberies of our people, how can we want to be all one people? They have not felt our pain. They have not felt our pain, but they will when the true Messiah come back. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
With the same person who's whooping your back every day.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So God spoke to Moses saying, if the children of Israel, those 12 tribes, did not listen and hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, we would have these curses upon us, right? Remember, we just read in 2nd Ezra that nobody had the word other than the children of Israel, but we have not received our reward and for all of our labors here. Let's get to that labor, verse 15. 28 verse 16.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Like you said, slavery. Cursed shall we be in the city and in the field. There was our people that was picking cotton, sugar cane, tobacco. And it wasn't just the American blacks. You had the West Indies. You had the so-called Native Americans. You had the Hispanics. They all suffered the curses, right? We had to labor in these fields picking cotton. We were getting out in the sunlight, 100-degree weather, 89, 90-degree weather with less than an ounce of water to drink throughout the day. And if you didn't bring enough weight of cotton, what would they do? They cut the hands off of the little children. If the Aztecs and the Mayans, our Northern Kingdom brothers, if they didn't bring back enough gold, they was chopping the hands off the men, off the women. This is what we suffered as a result for not keeping God's commandments. Because the Lord gave the word, and great was the company that published it. The company is the children of Israel. We published this Bible through the Spirit of the Most High God. Go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 36. Because this is why we suffer today, because we don't have that understanding. But when we get that understanding, what are you going to do with it? Read.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 32. Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation hath so believed thy covenants as Jacob? And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen,
Read that again.
For I have gone here and there through the
So
heathen.
the Bible's saying it went here and there through the heathen, meaning all the other nations of the earth. Every nation has their own gods, right? You got what, Buddha with the Chinese, you got Krishna with the so-called West Indian, the Indians, the Elamites is what the Bible call them. They got Buddha, Krishna, you got all these different gods, right? The Lord's saying he done been through to and fro throughout all the heathen, read.
And I see that they flow in wealth.
And they do what?
And I see that they flow in wealth.
You ever heard of Dubai? Abu Dhabi? What's over in Dubai? What's so big about Dubai? It's a rich what? It's a rich place, right? But that's created by what? A bunch of Israelites, according to the Bible, the Arabians. That's not our people. They got their own God, right? But the funny thing about it is, you got so-called black men that celebrate worshiping their God with what? Islam. That's their God. They rich over there doing all that. Are we rich over here? We the ones laboring over here, we still not rich. They come over here and they the ones what? Having the best jobs. They getting the best what? Computer science, technology jobs. They get owning these businesses. Any one of them you see they got money. They own all the gas stations over here. But then they go to Dubai and they run it up over there. Beautiful land, beautiful place, right? But the Lord is saying the heathen that are outside the children of Israel, they flow in wealth. The so-called white man, the richest nation on the planet. They shut down everybody if they don't eat. If you don't do what Americans say, I'm gonna put a sanction on you. Now no money goes to you. They are rich in wealth. All the other nations, Japan, you ever seen Tokyo, Japan? Rich, all the technology, Korea, all these different nations outside of our people, their homelands are what? Rich. China, the second most superpower, biggest superpower in the world, they rich. Read it again.
And I see they flow in wealth.
They flow in wealth. Every other nation outside of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, they flow in wealth. We flow in what? A couple $1,000s that we got from trapping. We flow in drugs. We flow in the ghettos and the slums. We flow with single-parent households, living in projects, low-income housing, with food stamps. That's what our people flow in. You got our Hispanic brothers and sisters. They in one bedroom with a family of 15. Is that flowing in wealth? No. So that's how you know everybody ain't supposed to be the same. Because everybody ain't being treated the same. Everybody ain't going through the same things. Why? Because God ordained it to be that way. Read.
And think not upon thy commandments.
And do what?
And think not upon thy commandments.
So it's saying that these other nations think not upon God's commandments. So the Lord gave the word, right? Let's get into a commandment of God. Give me Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Let's get into the commandment of God and let's see if these other nations follow the commandments of God or not. Because that's going to let you know who the God-chosen people is. Because the Bible's letting you know right now, he done went through the heathen and they don't keep God's commandments, but they rich in wealth. So you can do a process of elimination with all the different societies and races on this earth to see who this Bible belongs to and who it fits. Read that.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
I want that, my bad. Give me 21:5. 21:5. Leviticus 21:5.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 21 and verse 5. They shall not make baldness upon their head.
So the commandment of God, who gave the word, he says, thou shalt not make baldness upon thy head. You know what that means? You don't know, what does it sound like? We're going to read it again. Let me know what you think. Say it again.
They shall not make baldness upon their head.
What do you think that means? Huh? Nothing on your hair. Make baldness upon your head. So like, who used to be one of the top bald people was Floyd Mayweather. He grew his hair out. You might have heard about being an Israelite and started growing his hair out. But you had what? Steve Harvey, Michael Jordan, Floyd Mayweather, Tyrese, all these different celebrities. I'm just using those because that's what our people can relate to. They got bald heads, right? You look at the Chinese, right? Let's go into the other nations. Like I said, they don't keep the commandments, right? So you got the Chinese, right? You ever seen a Shaolin monk? What they look like? Bald head, right? They not keeping these commandments. But they what? They flow in wealth, prosperity, riches. They don't suffer the curses. Because why? The Bible's commandments that the Most High God ordained only applies to the Israelites.
Used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.